Well, the People's Republic of California is proud to lead the way in controlling people's lives in a manner that rivals China. What is it this time? California will soon be getting new sound sensing cameras and measuring equipment to measure exhaust noise as you drive by. The pilot program will span from January 2023 to December 2027, and it will be tested in 6 different cities across the state. Senate Bill SB 1079 needs only be signed by our state's Governor Newsom. This is the governor that was mandating masks everywhere, but had a dinner party for 30 of his closest friends, at an exclusive and intimate and expensive restaurant at the peak of the pandemic. Rules for thee, but not for me. This is the way it is in California. Details about the story coming up right after the break. This episode is made possible by Omaze. Omaze, you know Omaze. Omaze gives anyone the chance to win some amazing prizes, all while supporting worthy causes. To date, in fact, Omaze has raised over $150 million for worthy causes. Over the years, they've given viewers the chance to win houses, dream vacations, and some amazing cars. Cars that anyone would be thrilled to win. Cars that people dream of owning their whole life. So I'm pleased to announce that Omaze has another sweepstakes going on right now. So they asked me to share the good news. This is gonna be right up your alley, I promise. So what is the prize for the sweepstakes? A 2022 McLaren GT. Oh, be still my heart. A supercar by any measure. A car that rockets from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and has a top speed of about 203 miles per hour, all courtesy of a V8 engine that makes about 612 horsepower. Approximate retail value on this bad boy? Oh, just a cool $240,000 and change. Taxes and shipping will be taken care of for you so long as you are a U.S. resident, so you won't have to sell the car to pay the taxes, which is an added bonus. You've heard me talking about being happy with my R35 GTR, but if I ever want a car like this, you could bet that I'd be taking it to the track on a Saturday morning and then taking my lady to a fancy restaurant on Saturday night. You know the type of restaurant, the one where the really cool cars get parked in front. Somehow my GTR number winds up there. So for your chance to enter to win a 2022 McLaren GT, go to amaze.com/Lieberman, Lieberman, and do it now. The donations support the amazing work of Make-A-Wish. The Make-A-Wish Foundation, if you didn't know, creates life-changing wishes for kids with critical illnesses. Not only can these wishes help children build the physical and emotional strength that they need to fight a critical illness, with Make-A-Wish, a wish is granted every 34 minutes. One of my favorite charities. So if this bill is enacted, here's how the enforcement would take place. The sound sensing cameras will measure sound levels of cars on roads and take pictures of the car's license plates if it's deemed to be too loud. So if your car is above 95 decibels or your motorcycle is over 80 decibels, you're going to be subject to fines when it goes into full force. The first ticket is a warning, and the second offense will be a fine. There will be no way to have it cleared like a fix-it ticket. You're going to get a fine. That's it. You did it. You have to pay the fine. Money collected from fines would go into a fund that pays for traffic calming measures like speed bumps and bike lanes. What? So don't go online crying that the fees go right back to the police agencies, because the fees do not go back to the enforcement agencies. Doesn't make it any better. It's bullshit, and it's got to be stopped. The Senate bill picks up where a 2018 Assembly bill left off, basically enacted it into law at the beginning of 2019. The bill didn't change the legal limits for exhaust noise, but it revised how the enforcement would be done. I can see lots of problems with this bill. First off, there's going to be several cars that are illegal right off the showroom floor. If you take a look at cars like the 2016 Porsche GT3 RS, I think it was, that car produces 108 decibels of eargasm in stock trim at redline. That's a problem. The McLaren 720S comes in around 99 decibels, obviously over the limit. The 2019 Corvette ZR1 also moves the needle till about 99 decibels in stock trim, although of course many of those cars are modified. So of course there are many cars that are borderline stock also, and way over the limit if those owners modified their stock exhaust systems. Just off the top of my head, cars like Mercedes AMG SLS, Maseratis, some Jaguars, pretty much any Lamborghini, many Porsches of all models, most late model Ferraris, V8 Mustangs, especially those with modded exhaust systems beyond the factory modifications, which most of them have. And as you'd expect, your current crop of Dodge Chargers and Challengers, and of course most any straight pipe V8, V6 or V8 equipped cars. Other cars that might have a problem with this are the Jeep SRT8s, which are pretty much borderline stock, and when modded you can bet they're way over the limit as well. Oh, we can't forget the VQ guys, the G35s and Nissan Zs, which is a group that really can't seem to resist straight piping their cars, and as such will be continue to be targeted by police. There are a number of BMW models that will probably be above the limit too, even turbo models. Now, exhaust laws have been around for decades. I remember getting pulled over for my exhaust mods 30 years ago, all the way back in the 1980s, as a matter of fact. Police have long known that cars that have loud exhausts are probably modified. In California, arguing with a cop on the side of the road might get you a state referee ticket. And if you get one of those, you are screwed. Your car is going back to stock, or you have to sell it out of state. If you're street racing or attending takeovers and you get pulled over, you can bet that you're going to get cited for every little thing they can find, and they will look. For you guys running pops and bangs maps and the burble maps, all that kind of stuff, it just draws the attention of the police. So I expect that those people are going to continue to get hassled. And listen, I know I'm not 20 years old anymore, but I'm going to give you some solid advice from experience. I totally understand that you want your car to sound cool. Totally get it. Support that 100%. But straight piping a naturally aspirated car usually kills low-end torque and shifts the power band up to higher revs. And you may think your car sounds better, and maybe it does, but if you're not dynoing your car before and after your mods, you have to accept that you might be making even less horsepower and making your car slower. But for some people, they don't care if their car is making less horsepower and it's slower, just as long as it sounds great. I get it, I understand it, your car, your choice, I'm not judging anybody. But for turbo cars, depending on the setup, you can sometimes get away with straight piping because of the way that the vehicle's set up. But again, a dyno session will tell the story. So I'm not telling you not to do it, just know that you're going to suffer consequences. My GTO, as a matter of fact, has mufflers in the system, even though it's a twin turbo car. It's not screaming loud, and I don't get hassled for it. Plus, I'm older. The cops don't look at me the same way. And that's the way I like my GTO. I can still carry on a Bluetooth telephone call while I'm driving, and I don't have to live with the drone on the long trips, that drone right behind your ear. Now, of course, all this is your choice, but there's another consideration. Cops are itching to find a reason to pull the modified cars over. My next door neighbor was a CHP officer for more than 20 years before he retired. He told me that the younger drivers are targeted for minor traffic infractions because usually when they pull them over, they can find a bunch of more going on and give them more serious charges. Once cops have probable cause to peek inside the car when they pull you over, when they're using the flashlight and all that kind of stuff, a simple exhaust ticket that he pulled you over for can lead to the discovery of a ghost gun, drugs, or things like stolen goods or tools to commit robberies. We're seeing that a lot right where I live right now. I remember a time when I was actually pulled over for having an air freshener hanging from my rearview mirror. They still do stuff like that. Cops are looking for things like a busted taillight or headlight, no front license plates, and tinted windows here in California are some of the top reasons that auto enthusiasts get pulled over. Another thing is, to cops, things like A-pillar gauges suggest that the car is illegally modified, and that's all a cop needs to pull you over, and he'll make up another excuse. So the exhaust tips look modified. And once the cop pulls you over, if he thinks your car is modified, there's a potential state referee ticket for the driver here in California. The thought is that every modified car is probably a street racer, a sideshow participant, or just a hoonigan. This is what the cops think, this is what the media thinks, this is what the public thinks. The same thing with loud exhaust systems or big fat exhaust tips. They're lumping everybody in the same category. And once they pull you over and they peek inside your car, they might see something that gives them probable cause to pull you out of the car, and then they find something else. And then, of course, there's people driving around with open warrants, suspended driver's licenses, and no insurance. Just another way they're going to put you in jail. And then there are the real mental midgets. These people go driving around with body damage, bald rear tires, and a bash bar in the front or the back, and wonder why they get pulled over. Oh, I'm just driving to church, sir. Those things are a good sign that the car is part of the sideshow crowd, and the cops know it. They're not stupid. Everywhere in the country, cars are required to have two bumpers. Bash bars are not bumpers in the eyes of the law, not in any state. In short, every single exterior modification increases the chance that you're going to get pulled over, but you probably know this. The more tickets you get, the more likely that you're going to lose your license. At the very least, your insurance is going to go up and up and up, and before long, your insurance payment is higher than your car payment. The simple fact of the matter is there's a war against the automotive hobby, and this new exhaust enforcement effort is way over the top. The simple reasoning is behind that is it goes like this. The thought is that the more modified cars can be taken off the street, that the more street takeovers can be busted up. If your car is in the impound lot, you can't street race or swing your car. Pretty easy math. But I'm still baffled how these new camera enforcement devices will be able to pick up loud cars on a road full of vehicles. In California, we have a lot of 3- and 4-lane roads in the city. What would happen if 2 Harleys and a straight pipe Aventador rolled past the same camera at the same time? Is the device going to be accurate enough to pick out the loudest of the 3? It's a joke. I'd like to see them fight that in court. And it's a giant overreach, and California is basically becoming a prison. Why is this happening? I'm not going to get too political, but there is one party that is hell-bent on regulating lives in every part of our lives, and it's not the Republicans. That's a fact. Look it up. Go back, do some research. Democrats have been running the state of California for, 20 years, something like that? So part of the blame is on their shoulders, but another agency, the EPA, is run by no elected officials, and they continue to get up in our business as well. Further, cops who used to be relatively lenient have just run out of goodwill after the rise in belligerents and repeat offenders that frequent sideshows and intersection takeovers. The cops are just tired of the takeovers, the ridiculously loud cars, freeway pursuits for people not yielding, and just the general douchebaggery from a growing percentage of people who call themselves auto enthusiasts, when the reality is that some of these folks are just simply criminals. I mean, people who point guns out of their window at a sideshow are not auto enthusiasts, they're criminals. And while they make up a very small percentage of the crowd, we get lumped in with all of those people, all of us auto enthusiasts. They consider us the same. The few criminals that go to these events often wind up on the Instagram posts for law enforcement agencies like Street Racer Task Force, which makes everybody look bad in the automotive hobby, and the stereotype is perpetuated. We're all a bunch of hooligans and criminals. The press lumps all of us into that same group, so does the public. Everybody is getting fed up. And so these are the consequences. We've been saying it for years. I've been saying it for years. Everybody's been saying it for years. The consequences now are more restraints of our freedom. And while I've always supported law enforcement's efforts in the name of public safety, this new exhaust camera nonsense smells like a money grab because it does absolutely nothing to keep anyone safe. So on this one, I'm going to say no. If you get a ticket with this new system, contact a ticket fighting service like my sponsor, Off the Record, for example, and do not simply pay the ticket. This one is one that everybody's going to have to fight. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.